the Bulldog on ClassX Radio. You know, there's nothing more dangerous than not showing up for work and your employer finding out that your skills and the job you were doing was either completely unnecessary or somebody else can do it. Mike Zimmerman. Jeez, oh Pete. Now Denise can videotape the show and do the traffic. So what the heck? Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, I ranted last night on the radio promo. And one of the things that I ranted about was one of my many issues that I have as I go through this same life that you're going through is when I encounter one thing after the other that is messed up, and I scratch my head and say to myself, okay, well, why is that the way it is, and why would anybody allow that to be? And then when I encounter people in their various professions or job responsibilities, and I see flaws in what they're doing, I again scratch my head. And I always feel guilty about it because I know these individuals are, quote-unquote, doing the best they can, or they think they're doing a bang-up job. I mean, I'm talking about from watching a football game and seeing coaches make jack-wagon decisions, to encountering people in everyday life, to attending events and saying to myself, why is that? Like the Independence Christmas Walk, which I attended on Saturday night with the grandchildren and my wife and my daughter and my son-in-law and his parents. And it was a wonderful event on one hand. But on the other, and by the way, I don't participate in this thing. The Boy Scouts use my law office parking lot, but that's about the extent of my participation. But I sit there and I think to myself, all right, the line to Santa Claus is so long. By the way, spoiler alert, if somebody is listening to this who is counting on Santa Claus on Christmas Eve. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, why in the hell would you not have a Santa Claus maybe at the city building and maybe a Santa Claus downtown Independence, and you could cut the line in half? I mean, by the time we waited on the camel ride, we waited an hour for a 1 minute and 38-second ride. I know how long that was because I videotaped it. And Riley loved it. But, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I can understand 2 camels. Camel might cost a lot of money. But how much is a Santa Claus? So next year, ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, I'm going to take it upon myself. There will be 2 Santa Clauses. Because by golly, at my office, I'm going to have a Santa Claus. So boys and girls can, you know, get right into it and tell Santa what they wanted. I tell you right now, there was a lot, and I mean a lot, going on over the weekend besides all of my encounters with issues and problems in life. How about you, Garrett? Did you enjoy your football weekend?
Absolutely. Didn't do much else but watch football. It was pretty good.
Well, Georgia blew the game.
Oh my God.
We'll get to sports later in the show.
We'll talk about it.
And by the way, I might have to leave a little early. So we'll save sports for the end of the show in case I do have to leave. Will y'all do me a favor? Will you do sports instead of talking about one stupid item for about 5 minutes?
What did we talk about for 5 minutes?
Oh, I know it was. I don't know what it was, but I was sitting there thinking to myself, are you kidding me? The quote of the day is worth repeating. I firmly believe that any man's finest hour, the greatest fulfillment of all that he holds dear, is that moment when he has worked his heart out in a good cause and lies on the field of battle victorious. That's Vince Lombardi, baby. Galileo in 1621 invented a telescope. How you like that? 1947, Tennessee Williams, Streetcar Named Desired, premiere in New York City. I still wonder why this is such a big deal, because I personally think Stella was kind of wacky and Stanley was just as wacky.
Looked like a weird movie.
Yeah, enough of that. Let me see. Now, this is a big day in local history. In 1979, 11 people were trampled to death at the Cincinnati Hoot concert. I almost went to that concert.
Ant did.
I knew one of the guys that got trampled, Eric Wagner.
Died?
Not Eric Wagner, Bugsy Wagner.
I was gonna say, yeah, Eric Wagner's still around.
Yeah, it's Eric Wagner's brother.
Right, right.
Died?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Enough of that, man. I don't want to hear him with that tragedy.
I can't believe, how long ago was that? I was in the other
1979.
Wow.
Sounds like a major oversight by the city and by the
It was
building.
It was the stadium seating, first come, first served, sit where you must.
Well, right, but
And
then later in that piece, there was one of the members of the band interviewed, and he said there were 3 entrances.
Yeah. It was a cluster mess. There's no question about that. Ladies and gentlemen, the American Jerry, what do we have also famous birthdays today? Brendan Fraser is 44. Julianne Moore is 52. By the way, I watched Crazy Stupid Love. I think she's ugly.
Really?
I don't like her at all. My wife said I was being mean.
Talk about Sarah Palin.
Heck with her. Turn her off. Daryl Hannah's 52. Ozzy Osbourne is 64. Now he's worth talking about.
Crazy dude.
Good song, Paranoid. One of my nicknames was Paranoid. Maybe we ought to play this song today.
Yeah, it'd be a good one. That'd be a good
Andy
one.
Williams, God bless his soul, would have had a birthday today. And I tell you right now, you cannot listen to Moon River without getting goosebumps, can you? Moon River.
No, I don't get goosebumps.
I love it. Hey, today's also known as Let's Hug Day. Well, what a great excuse to go around hugging ladies. Make a Gift Day, Telescope Day, and Three's a Crowd Day. Three's Company. Dun, dun,
Three's
dun.
Company is one thing. Three's a
Today's the day you want to do a menage a trois. Because it's Three a Crowd Day, baby. Have you ever experienced such a thing? Garrett? A three a crowd? You wish? Denise?
No.
Anything on traffic before we go to our first song?
There was nothing posted out there, which is definitely good news. They're saying a little bit of fog around the tri-state. I didn't have any problem coming in. Did you see any? I mean,
I didn't see anything. Thing is good. This is Billy Joel, folks. You may be right. I may be crazy, but it just might be a lunatic you're looking for as a lawyer on ClassX Radio. This is the Bulldog on ClassX Radio. By God, I got a lead for old Bill Spry. Bill, I know you're listening back there in Middletown. You need to know that Jim True from True Ford from Brookville, Indiana, wants to be a sponsor of the Bulldog Nation show.
there you go.
How you like that, an auto dealership?
Well, you know what?
Is
Car
there-
dealers pay a ton of money. That's great.
Is there a traffic report?
There was nothing going on. They were just saying there was a little bit of fog out there. As far as any problems or accidents right now, nothing. So get to work early.
All right, I'm sad to report that Terrell Horn 3, Redondo Beach, California, is a U.S. Coast Guard member who was killed after his Coast Guard vessel is rammed by a smuggler's boat yesterday morning off the California coast, causing him to suffer a traumatic head injury. I also received a report I saw, this is non-military, of a terrible car accident down in Pendleton County, which I think 2 kids and a mom were air carried. They were rear-ended by a truck, and they were in a Chevrolet Cavalier. Man, oh man, can you imagine sitting still and getting walked
No.
by a, just sad, sad, sad. Today's forecast, mostly cloudy, scattered thunderstorms. Tomorrow, and partly cloudy on Wednesday. The feel-good song on Facebook is Ryan Bingham, I Don't Know. You gotta like that. You really gotta like that. How about this, Jack Wiggin? Obama's campaign is still asking for financial contributions between $15 and $1,000 to stand with President Obama for the next 4 years. What a jerk. much less a jackwagon. And I'm going to skip over those oracles and the sports because it's just not time for sports. It's not time for sports.
Just not there yet.
Question of the day: do you find that the items on your bucket list are attainable, or are they just wishful thinking? Does anybody? I have a mental bucket list, but I have not written it down. Have you written down a bucket list?
No, I kind of have a mental one.
Yeah.
But like same.
Mine probably changes all the time.
Is it?
I don't know. I never really thought about it.
Well.
I mean, what's one thing? What's one thing on your bucket list?
One thing on my bucket list: Great Wall of China.
Okay.
Second thing on my bucket list is to be worth $100 million. Third thing on my bucket list to be the President of the United States. Fourth thing on my bucket list is to drive around Independence in a Lamborghini. Fifth thing on my bucket list is to, let me see, what else?
It's not to own the Lamborghini.
Have my national television show.
Okay.
National radio show. I have high ambition. You know, if you set your goals too, short, you'll hit it every time. You got to have big goals, Denise. What's your big goal? Marry Jason, settle down as the Princess of Carrollton.
No.
It's not a goal.
That's not. No, my
Did you guys hang
my
out this
sister and
weekend?
I. Yes, we did. My sister and I started our own business.
The entire
What
weekend.
days?
You asked. I was telling. All
She seems
weekend.
happy.
We don't care about that.
She seems
But,
happier.
Yeah, I bet
seems
you,
happier. Now, come on, we got to be polite to her. She doesn't do that to us.
That's true.
She doesn't do it. On the Facebook page?
Wow.
It's official! It's official!
It's her like background.
It's
picture or
official!
whatever.
You know what? I take credit for this. Give me a high five.
Hold on. Is
You
it
actually-
is it official relationship?
I knew they would be.
I didn't put it. No.
I knew they were good for each other.
That's
So
just
they are
That's
going.
a.
Oh, by the way, I got my wife's poster. And I decided to
You
put it in my
did?
office at home and not here while you pervs would look at her.
What?
I'm not.
Yeah, I know you would.
His back would be.
Even
to it
though,
all the time.
even though that her swimsuit picture is more than enough to be next to Farron Raquel, I decided I'd get in big trouble if I did that. So it's in
Well,
my
you know
office
what?
at home.
Not only that, but think of all the people that come in here.
Exactly.
Right.
Especially these.
You wouldn't want them
this
all
jack
drooling
wagon.
all over.
This jack wagon that came in here. It comes in here after us.
Oh yeah, a lot of dirt bags.
You don't want 'em-
Hey, by the way, I don't know what that guy's name is, but he's the most unfriendly person in the world. I was going to invite WDJO radio people to our Christmas party, but hell no, I don't want that guy at our party.
You know what's funny is every time I come in today, Matthew McConaughey was down. And
I noticed Matthew McConaughey was gone.
And Bill was laying on the floor, but
I was in here
Farrah's still
yesterday
up.
with Jack Steckland showing at the studio, and I noticed Matthew McConaughey was gone. I don't know who took him.
He was just stuck to the desk.
All right, pop culture, folks. Twilight Breaking Dawn, 17 million.
Really?
Skyfall, 17 million. Lincoln, 13 million. Rise of Guardians, 13 million. Life of Pi, 12 million.
Okay.
I saw a movie called Killing Me Softly. Brad Pitt's movie.
This weekend?
Great movie.
Yeah.
Kind of Soprano-like. In fact, Tony Soprano's in it, but he plays kind of a jackwagon.
I watched the tried to watch Matthew McConaughey's Magic Mike last night, and I couldn't even watch it. It was horrible.
Magic Mike?
I tried to watch it. It was terrible.
I took my wife to that and she liked it.
She did?
Yep.
Yeah.
She got all hot and bothered afterwards.
Well, maybe. Okay, well, maybe I need to watch it again. I don't know.
Share in a rant about the Afghanistan war says, why spend money in a foreign country while people at home live in poverty? You know what? I agree with Cher on that one. Octomom is nominated for Best Celebrity Sex Tape, Best Solo
Oh my
Release,
God.
Best DVD Extra, and Best Marketing. Octomom Home Alone. So she really did do a movie? Oh my God.
A dirty movie. Like a.
Yeah, an X-rated
Who
movie.
would want to see that?
Who would want to see her? Yuck.
Oh my God, that makes my stomach turn.
Apparently, according to the Daily Mail, people who have seen early screenings of The Hobbit say the high-speed 3D cameras used to create the film caused them to get migraines and be sick and dizzy. Wow. Mm-hmm. That's going to be interesting.
Did you like those Lord of the Rings movies?
I love this.
Yes, I love
You know,
them.
this is like the
I love them.
prequel to
Yeah.
all those.
The
And
guy that I
instead of
like
making
is
three of these-
Stryker. Is the name Stryker?
Yeah.
Stryker's a bad dude,
See
man.
the one with the long hair? No.
Yeah,
I
long
also
hair.
like the bow and arrow.
The bow and arrow guy?
Blonde guy.
Yeah.
His name.
Okay, well, I like-
Agathorn or whatever.
Uh,
And the
Vigo.
little stumpy guy with the axe was
Yeah, he was pretty cool.
Is it Vigo? What's his real name?
Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah.
Yeah, big one. Let's see.
I don't know. But
I
he's
like
now.
that.
See, I liked him. He's
You know what?
Is that the character?
There's none on local news worth reporting. We come back. I guess we'll go ahead and do sports. You know what the heck?
Let's do it.
You know, we'll do sports when we come back. Well, let's go ahead and start sports now. Sources say Butch Jones has met with Purdue officials to discuss the coach's position. He's gone. UK Mark Stoops, they brought him in. Highlands won a state championship. Congratulations,
6
Bluebirds.
months straight.
Newcath won a state championship. Cooper lost in the finals. God love Cooper. What about Moeller? Did Moeller win?
Moeller won.
Moeller won. All right, go Big Mo.
How about Lou's son down in South Florida? Lou Holtz, Skip Holtz.
They won?
Fired.
Fired?
Fired after 3 seasons.
Really? You can't fire Lou Holtz's son.
Well, you ever
Obviously
see Lou Holtz
they can.
on the college morning show or whatever?
Yeah, I like him. I think he does a good job. You think he's horrible? I think Lou does a good job.
You think he was a big drinker? He's got like a lisp.
I don't know. Man, it just...
Why would that
Can
have
you imagine what it'd be like
Well, you start
to go back
the
to school?
speech.
Look at all the responsibility we had. Only if we knew what little responsibility we had when we were in school. And one day, school's out forever, you know? It's just like one day you're in school, and the next day, you're out in the big real world.
There you go.
Alice Cooper, School's Out on ClassX Radio.
89.1 FM, ClassX.
This is the Bulldog on ClassX Radio. Anything going on in traffic?
There is nothing going on right now. It says no incidents to report unless it just changed all of a sudden when I hit the update button. No, nothing going on. How about that?
Well, let's go ahead and do some more sports.
What?
The Cincinnati Bengals beat. You know, they hang on and they beat San Diego, which is a huge victory to go out to the West Coast and win. But you know what? They really dominated the game. Those turnovers killed them. I mean, it was like, when it was like 13-10 they were losing, I was like, they ought to be at like 20 points.
Yeah.
Turnovers were killing them, but they hung on and won.
San Diego is horrid.
And get this, my Cowboys beat the Eagles last night. I figured they were going to lose. And now you have the 6-6 Cowboys and the 6-5 Bengals, and both
6-6, right?
Yeah,
They're
6-6. They're both 6-6.
I think so.
No. I think the Bengals are 6-5.
Well, they have to have the same amount of games played. 5 and
No,
7.
have the Bengals had their bye yet?
Oh yeah, all the byes are
Okay. Well, anyway, the bottom, I think they must be 7-5 then. Bengals are 7-5 then, I guess. Well, regardless of it, the bottom line is the Bengals and Cowboys both need to win on Sunday, and of course Dallas will be here to play the Bengals, and I will be in attendance with my entire family.
Well, that sounds like a fun thing to do.
Yep.
You're
Gosh.
going?
I'm going to the
Whole
game,
family.
and I'm down in the lower section. I refuse to go and be in the nosebleeds. I don't care what anybody says. You sit, every seat's a good seat. No, it's not. It's like watching ants play.
Yeah, I agree. Plus, you're with, up top. There's hillbillies in all the sections, but up top, you're
There's
really
more hillbillies.
raising
There's what?
drunks.
There's more hillbillies.
Hillbillies, people from, Fort Thomas.
How about my UK Wildcats go down again to Baylor in the home? Calipari had never lost at Rupp Arena, but now he has.
Yeah, Baylor. Baylor's good. They
Baylor
lost
is
a guy
good.
After last year that went to the NBA, but
You know, it was a class.
stack.
It was just like the Duke game. It reminded me of the Duke game. The difference was a very experienced team of guys that have played together in college 3 or 4 years, and some great young players that are still green. But it only matters in March, and I'm telling you, John Calipari made a comment once about he'll take the talent any day of the week.
Bengals 7-5, Dallas 6-6.
Yeah, see, they both got to win. I mean, the Bengals could lose one more game and still probably make us a wild card. Dallas, they cannot lose another game.
Well, what hurt the Bengals yesterday is Indy and Pittsburgh both lost. They were the two ahead of the Bengals for the 2 wild card spots.
No, Pittsburgh won. They came back and beat the Ravens.
Right,
I know.
Pittsburgh and Indy won.
Right.
That's what
The Giants play the Redskins at 8:30 tonight. There's your game today.
RG3.
And then, of course, the biggest sports news yesterday was the shooting, or it happened on Saturday, the shooting of Belcher, the Kansas City linebacker, who was a starter. He had become a starter. 4-year player. He shoots his girlfriend, the mother of his child.
3-month-old child.
Do we know why yet?
No, but they had been fighting in previous weeks, and there have been some reports that one of the major incidents, or maybe the tipping point, was a concert that she had gone to, a Trey Songz concert, a few nights before. He got mad at her about something. I don't know what, something about going to that concert or something. And then on Saturday it all came to a head, and he killed her. I mean, he's a murderer. I mean,
he committed a murder. He does nobody to be worshipped. And I thought Kansas City was right not to do that. And he murders. Then he shoots himself in front of his coach and general manager in a parking lot.
That's nuts. And I feel terrible for the girlfriend. I think her name is Cassandra.
Right.
And the 3-month-old child who's now. And actually, it's interesting because
selfish.
Absolutely.
The height of selfishness.
Life, go ahead and do it, but don't be a coward to take somebody else's.
Yeah, exactly.
But actually, this Cassandra is the cousin of Chiefs starting running back Jamal Charles' wife. So actually, the baby, the 3-month-old, has been at Jamal Charles' house while they were taking care of her, while they were kind of in an argument the last. But apparently, he's been on painkillers, like addicted to painkillers, prescription drugs, big drinker. That combined with
had a head injury once
against the Bengals 2 weeks ago. He took multiple shots to the head against the Bengals. That was actually the last game he played in 2 weeks ago, and they said that now they're thinking with all
but like a couple years ago he had another head injury.
Well, right, and multiple times it just.
I'm telling you, it's crazy.
But you know what? I hate to blame it on that this early. He made a dirtbag move.
By the way, my son Parker had a visit to Thomas More College, and I got mixed feelings about it. But he loves football, so he's going to go to Thomas More next year and play football.
Nice.
I'm excited about it. I went to a Thomas More game earlier this year because my son-in-law's brother, Kyle Fuller, who was the quarterback for Holy Cross and won a state championship, great athlete, he's at Thomas More. And Chad Lawrence, who was the quarterback for Simon Kidd's a wide receiver there, his arm apparently got messed up. But I went to the game, and I want to tell you, good-looking field, good-looking little stands. They had lots of tailgaters in the parking lot. I mean, it's a small college.
But you know what? It had more chance
but it had a great feel to it, and he liked it too. In other words, it made him get the itch to play.
Yeah, that's what they want. Now, are you like a tailgater? If he played there, and then you'd be going to all the games. Would you do up the tailgating every Saturday for home games? Let me tell
you what I would do. I would go there early to tailgate, but my wife and I would agree that we are buying seats in the stands. You apparently can buy some seats, and that's where we're going to sit. You can't watch a game tailgating.
No, I don't think stay.
No, but I'm just saying, absolutely. But I'll tailgate, but I want to go watch the game.
Well, yeah,
sure.
Most people do.
My high school coach, I think, is down at Thomas More now, and a guy
awesome.
that was in my brother's grade is coaching down there now.
I just would think that a school like that, you have more of an opportunity to really get to play. A smaller school.
Right. Well, you know what I say? DeMarcus Ware, who could be the best defensive player in the NFL, came from Troy.
Troy, Ohio.
And he played for college at Troy. So maybe my son will be playing linebacker for the Cincinnati Bengals one day.
A lot of guys in the NFL come from schools like this.
I know.
This guy, the Belcher, played at Maine.
Rice. Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice went to
Mississippi Valley State or something crazy like that.
Mississippi
Alcorn.
Valley State.
Didn't Terrell Owens go from Alcorn State or something? I mean, these small colleges, they find them.
Yeah, and
my son works out like 3 hours a day, and he also goes to that speed place down in Covington where you increase your speed.
Yeah.
He's doing that. Man, he's in great shape.
Don't you wish you had that kind of time to work?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I sure do wish I had that kind of time. Hey, how about this? Scientists say that if you sit too much, it's bad for your health. Duh! Man, I tell you, I got so much life experiences and observations over the weekend to share. You guys are going to enjoy them. The Taliban fighters who attempted to enter the base known as Forward Operating Base Fente were wearing coalition military uniforms. 10 coalition troops were wounded and 1 Afghan soldier was killed. How do you like that? Speaking of suicide, a Cleveland Browns employee who worked on the grounds crew was found dead at a team's practice facility.
that was
wow.
That was like the I think that was yesterday.
Worcester, Massachusetts asking citizens to bring their weapon to the police department in a Goods for Guns buyback program. In return, citizens will receive a gift certificate and a free flu shot. And a bunch of hunky-dory BS. Let me see if something else is worth sharing with you.
Extending the school day. Did you see this?
Yes. In 10 districts, Colorado, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New York, and Tennessee, adding up to 300 hours. Maybe it'll make the kids smarter.
I'd drop out in no time.
Heck yeah, man.
I'd transfer.
See, I'm out of here. I'm out of here.
Yes.
Let me see, what do we have? That little jackwagon Army Private Bradley Manning, the WikiLeaks leaker. His trial's been pushed to March of next year. Who cares? I say just hang that guy. That'd be too much. This is the day William Henry Harrison died. You know what? He just spoke too long and got pneumonia. Herbert Hoover was the first president to have a phone installed on his desk at the White House.
Really?
He didn't have any bomb to worry about, though. He couldn't call in a bomb. Dwight D. Eisenhower was the first president to be telecast in color. Wow. NBC had him in color. Dwight Eisenhower. Great man. Great general. Great president.
Awesome, president. Did a lot of great things.
How do you like the interstate highway system? How about he was smart enough
The interstate highway system's
to warn us of the military establishment. And he was a general. Hell, how's that for fair and balanced?
That's pretty cool. I mean, you know, before I ever started in traffic, I did have to do some history, and I had no idea that every so many miles there was a straight stretch of interstate so that planes could land. Did you know that?
Yep.
Okay.
I know everything.
I had no
Some
idea.
people, I know what I need to know. That's the bottom line. That's what I need. What I need to know, I know. And what I don't need to know, I don't know.
Okay.
Tom Petty taught me that.
Really?
Yep, he says, what you need to know, you know. ClassX Radio.
ClassX.
Harry Deters, the Bulldog on ClassX Radio. I worked until 3 a.m. and I got up at 4:45, so I got an hour and 45-minute nap. And I had a whole bunch of things that I wanted to add to my beginning of my newsletter, which I call Life Observations and Commentaries. But I was just too tired, and I chose sleep over doing that.
Lazy ass.
Sometimes you just have to.
So we'll be through the newsletter about at 7 o'clock, so I can share all these wonderful items with you. Until then, how about a traffic report?
Well, you know what? I was just sitting here writing some of this stuff down. We've got some accidents out there. One on the interstate. Well, actually, it's Ronald Reagan westbound right at 71. Making it Vine. Seymour at Rhode Island Avenue. And Seymour. Liberty at Reading, and Glendale Milford Road right there at Reading as well, and also 75 southbound and 275 in Westchester in that area. So those are some accidents that have just popped up here this morning, so starting to see that traffic really pick up. Here we go. So we'll see how it goes.
All right, thank you very much. Ralph Nader. Like this took Ralph. You know what? Ralph's kind of a weirdo. I agree with some of the stuff. But he is like down on Obama, even worse than Bush, he says. No, he's not. Obama's a jackwagon. Enough of Ralph Nader. My God, Nader. You're talking about, good thing nobody uses him for political commentary.
Boring, huh?
Governor Norquist. You know, he's worried that these people are turning against that tax pledge. This is Grover on Meet the Press. to get rid of it, get rid of it. Under the Clinton administration, we didn't have the burden of 15 trillion in debt, 16 trillion in debt. These people are jackwagons. All right, fiscal cliff. Until the GOP offers a plan, Obama says he's not going to change. How can he say they haven't offered a plan? They've had a plan all the way back since the debt ceiling increase last December. Good God. And here's John Boehner on Fox News Sunday explaining a little bit more. This is Boehner from Butler County. Obama goes on vacation December 17th.
For 20 days.
Remember what I said? All he's got to do is sit down with Boehner. That's the only person he should be talking to. Instead, he's traveling around the country. It's a joke. It's a joke. Now let's hear from Geithner. See, Geithner appeared on Meet the Press, and we got to hear. No, they didn't. Geithner is a dweeb. Listen to this guy. The Republicans have already agreed to the tax increases. They've already said they'd do it. He cares about the middle class. You know middle class people are going to have a $2,000 tax increase if they don't get the deal together. Here's what Lindsey Graham had to say on Face the Nation on CBS. Lindsey, who I don't like. You know, I want to know who came up with the idea. Everybody knows going off the cliff is a bad analogy, and is a metaphor for something bad happening. Going off the cliff. So whoever came up with this, let's go off the fiscal cliff, not a very wise phrase to coin, because it's like, oh, and just so everybody knows what that does, it will lead to tax increases and spending cuts, which they think will lead to some more recession. But let me tell you something. There's a lot of people, including me, who have decided, let it happen. Let all those cuts happen. Let all the taxing, let it all freaking happen. Barack Obama, what a joke. You got a traffic report before I introduce my next song?
I do. There's a couple of accidents. Southbound 75 at 275. Ronald Reagan westbound as you're approaching 71, so expect some delays there. McMicken at Vine, Liberty at Reading, and Glendale Milford at Reading. So a few problems out there. Traffic's starting to really pick up.
Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, I have about 2 hours of news clippings that I took out over the weekend, and I have some rants. You know what I have coming up for you? I've got radio superbity. So don't be paranoid like Ozzy Osbourne. Think positive. This is the Bulldog on ClassX Radio. This is the Bulldog on ClassX Radio. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, the remainder of the show is going to be my commentary about items in the news and things that I noticed over the weekend. And I think you're going to enjoy every single one of them. I would like to first say that I watched this documentary about hippies. And the documentary focused about the hippie movement and how it was a one big old failure. And the reason why it was a failure is the hippies came up with this concept and this idea that they discovered a new way to live life and that it would work. And as one of the Brookhiser, this historian, one of the commentators, pointed out that, you know what, if you think after all these years somebody's going to come up with a new way to live life that's utopia, you're going to be a failure. And they did. And they talk about how the hippie movement got burned out. People got burned out with the communal stuff, the drug stuff, the peace, love, and everything's going to be hunky-dory stuff. And then they spoke about the aftermath of it, like the positive influence it had. Gay movement, women's movement, all these movements and whatnot. But the reality of it was, the hippie movement, all it did, and all it really did, was help begin America's slip slide to oblivion. And ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, I am no fuddy-duddy at all. I am not a fuddy-duddy. But I can tell you right now that there are so many things that you could point to say, well, that right there is a problem for America. Well, in 1958, the divorce rate was 25%. By 1970s, it had gone up to 50%. Thank you, counterculture movement. Now it's all the way up to 60%, I think. Now, I want to say a few things. First off, I have a lot of friends who are divorced, family members who are divorced. We all know that sometimes things just don't work out. But I think we deal as a society better with teenage pregnancy and all of that, with more compassion and understanding. But I want to tell you right now, the absolute hell, the family hell, the emotional hell, the financial hell that is caused by breakup of families is devastating. Let me give you an example. All right? I have, and I won't name names, but I have a lawyer in my office. I'm sure I have more than one, but there's one that comes to mind who will name nameless, who is divorced a couple times, has kids, all right? His lost productivity because of that is incredible. Let me see. Well, I got the kids this weekend. I got the kids this week. I got to do this week. And it's amazing. And then my daughter, who has a child with somebody that she's not married to, and she's married now, the emotional hell that she goes through and we go through is incredible. I mean, and then last night I get an email from somebody, or a text message from somebody, that included a picture. And I am not kidding you. Their little granddaughter had a red, bloody ring around her neck, as if it looked like somebody took a piano wire to it. And they got an emergency custody order, and apparently the Butler County, Human Resources or Child Support or whatever, Child Services, apparently was involved, and they were acting like it was no big deal or something like that. And I didn't even know this. I sent a response to everybody in the email list, and I said, something better never happened to that freaking little girl there. And I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what anybody says. And everybody talks about, oh, diversity, diversity. Liberal diversity is not good. And you will never, ever, ever... And by the way, I know from my own experience, I have never been through a divorce. Anybody married knows that there's been moments where you thought you were going to go through a divorce. I don't care. If you're married, divorce is always something that pops its ugly head up every once in a while. I can't function well at work if I've got a big fight going on with my wife. I don't know how people function when they're going through divorce, and guess what? They don't function very well. Because we all know that process can take 6 months to a year, and then we got the issues with children and everything else. So, I don't care what anybody says. Anybody says. America is better off with strong family units. And the more we disintegrate the family, the worse off we are, and the worse off we're going to be. And don't tell me that, well, you and whatever, you're just fine living that kind of life. Well, guess what? There's exceptions to everything. Percentage-wise, I know enough females, women, who are single moms that have worked for me and been clients, and I hear about the hell that they have to put. I can't believe they got to work, they got to take care of the kid, husband doesn't pay child support. They go through hell. And then I know men who are single, they can't find a good woman. Then you got people that try to go to the bars, all they do is skirt chase their weekends away. That's not any good. That's an empty path. So, and by the way, I want to say this to you. You know, one day I'm going to write this book about balance. Let me just say this to you. Partying, you know what? Without excess, fine. Drinking, without excess, it's fine. Carousing, if you're single, fine. You know what? Married people that like to get together and couples and party and even some good-natured flirting, fine. You name it. You know what? I'm a sinner, not a saint. I don't care what anybody says. You know, people cuss, people do things maybe they shouldn't. But you see, there's a big difference in individuals that might do things maybe they shouldn't do and so forth and so on, and the disintegration of the family. You know what I mean? It's amazing to me the devastating effect that it has. And I just think it's bad. Now, Denise, I don't want to put you on the spot.
All right.
But if there is anything you would share about the process, because you have been divorced, I mean, am I right or am I wrong?
It's a tough process. It's tough being single. It's tough being out there. There's, you know, and just like you said, there's a lot of people that just skirt chasers. So it's, then again, I guess there's a lot of women that are the same way.
See, that's why I fixed you up with Jason. I figured it'd be a good match, because everybody I know that's divorced and single, they say it's tough to find a good man or a good woman.
And it is, and you know, there's a lot of people, a lot of my friends, there's several women that do the dating sites.
Well, let me say this too about this, okay? It's all about mental and physical health too. It's proven you live longer if you're married. You're not going to tell me that if you're a single or you're a divorced person. I'll bet you I don't even have to know the statistics. I know what they are. Higher incidence of depression, higher incidence of, you know, lack of productivity, probably alcoholism, prescription drug dependency, so forth and so on. I'll bet you, no question, it's got to be higher from divorces.
Well, I mean, I think when you're on your own, when you're alone, it's just that lonely feeling. I mean, you know, when you're sitting around on a Sunday afternoon.
You want to comment, Gary? You are the child of a divorced family. If you want to comment,
yeah.
I don't want to put you on the spot. You ain't got to share anything you don't want to.
No, I'm cool with it. Yeah, my parents divorced when I was 2, and I have 2 older brothers. So that was back in 1990. I didn't know any better. We moved to Anderson, and you know, for those, and it was kind of difficult up until, I guess, when my oldest brother got his driver's license, because I remember my mom and dad still fighting about, well, you know, come pick him up, or, you know, and my dad was out in Blue Ash, or, you know, now Fairfield. So for the longest time it was that, but now that we're all grown up, we're older, out of college, it's been great. Like, my mom and dad even get along now. We've done my brother's wedding, and they all are together and coexist great, really. So.
Well, no,
yeah, it doesn't mean it doesn't.
My mom remarried, divorced,
and some, you know, let's face it. There's some times when divorces gotta happen. I mean, you got a situation where you're better off. I mean, it really is.
Sometimes they're
but
better off.
I'm going to tie this back in before I go to my song to what I was talking about, the hippie movement. My point that I'm trying to make is, you know, the hippies were like, let's live in communes. Let's free love. let's do this, let's do acid, da, da, da. Well, guess what? You know, when they're doing it, checking out, you know, let's just check out. No, 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 no. You know what I say? Work your ass off, and then if you want to smoke a joint or have a freaking beer, fine. But you don't check out of life. It doesn't work. You got to have responsibility. Acting like just think of everybody in the world did what the hippies did. Oh man, we don't need a military. Oh, you get conquered. Oh, we don't need an economy. You know, it's free love. It's a bunch of crap. I might be making some former hippies mad, but I don't care because I'm right. Oh, by the way, all the former hippies became capitalists and ran big old companies and made a fortune on Silicon Valley and Wall Street and everything else. It's kind of like, hey, I think I'm going to go make money now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, American jury, this is Jim Croce, Bad Leroy Brown. We come back. I got some more to comment about on ClassX Radio. Would the Delaware University or college have as a nickname, a mascot, the Blue Hens?
Blue Hens, yeah, that's pretty lame.
Is that not incredible?
I'm trying to think of some other really bad mascot names. There's something, I forget, but I'll look some up, but that's pretty bad. That's not really, you don't think of like a fighting when you think of a blue hen.
Yeah, you don't think and what's so funny is the Blue Hens play Duke, the Blue Devils. Well, you know a Blue Devil is going to whoop a freaking blue hen any day of the week.
Well, you know what I think when I think of hen, I think of some like really crotchety old woman that's like...
Right. Well, you think of henpecked, you think of
like Denise.
Hey, Garrett, how about Sanchez?
Getting benched.
Getting benched, third stringer coming in and playing, baby.
Because Tebow's hurt, so this Greg McElroy from Alabama goes in, throws a touchdown. What an ugly game. I didn't watch any of it, but...
They're 7-6. And guess what? Tebow has his great chance. He can't play.
Right, yep. He finally gets... I'm telling you, as much as I think that Romo is a horrible quarterback, no offense, but I think Romo is better than the other two I think are horrible quarterbacks, which are San Diego's Phillip Rivers and Mark Sanchez.
Actually, Tony Romo, I want to tell you Tony Romo. If Tony Romo, I've changed my mind again. If Tony Romo had an offensive freaking line, my God, he doesn't have an offensive line. He's running for his life every play. By the way, Rick Majerus died, the former coach of Utah and St. Louis.
Yep, Utah. I think he actually coached Marquette too at one point, but that was
a little overweight.
I can't say it was a shocker, but it was, you know, just okay. There it was, you know, a really big guy all his career and worked for ESPN as an analyst. Just as soon as last year, had St. Louis like in the tournament. Right, he was just coaching last year and then took a leave in August for health reasons, and it turns out he...
What's going on in traffic there, Denise?
Well, you know what? I was just waiting. There was an accident on Highway 28 at Pleasant Hill Road, and that is shut down due to that accident. So if you're traveling through there in that Milford area, you're going to have some problems. A couple of other accidents. Delta at Glenwood, you have an accident there. Martin Luther King at Burnett. Maple Leaf at Ridge Road. Let's see, SD at Center Hill. So there's plenty of accidents out there. Martin Luther King just east of Clifton, downtown Madison and Stewart. And then it looks like a couple others here. A new one at Liberty and Reading. And then we had the earlier one, Seymour at Rhode Island. That looks like a couple others have cleared. The one at Ronald Reagan at 71. But traffic's starting to slow down all around the Tri-State. It's going to be that time of the morning. But again, that area there of Highway 28 at Pleasant Hill Road in Milford is closed.
All right, I got to ask you guys this question because this happened to me, and I'm going to protect the identity of this individual. But you know what? I had an experience where I had a client of mine informed me they were HIV positive. That came up in this conversation I had. During the course of this meeting, sneezed several times in their hand. And then upon leaving, stuck out their hand to shake my hand.
No.
Now I got to ask you the question, folks. I mean, do you get HIV from a sneeze? That's body fluid, isn't it?
Yeah, but no, you don't. And
still,
I still wouldn't have shook
their
their hand.
hand. You know what? It would still put you
I'm just telling you, that's a weird position to be in. I don't care what anybody says.
Well, no, I thought what you were going to say is that you didn't want to shake their hand.
I shook their
because of the sneeze.
I shook their hand and went immediately to the bathroom, washed my hands, and then put the 99% germ killer stuff
You
on.
would have done that though if they had been coughing and sneezing just from a cold. You would have done the same thing.
Yes, I would have.
It's an illness. Have you ever gone, and I did this when I was sick and I realized that I did it. And I went to the grocery store and I had bronchitis, whatever, coughing, covered my mouth when I was coughing. But because I was shopping and I picked up fruit and I went, oh my God. And it just hit me. It's
nice,
like,
Denise.
and then think about it. How many people do that and they put it back down? So it's just the thought that, you just don't even think about it. But you would wash your hands, you just...
Did you hear about this? Colin Kaepernick, is that how you pronounce it?
Kaepernick, yeah.
Kaepernick, of course, there's a quarterback controversy since the Niners lost to the Rams. There's been a big controversy about all of his tattoos.
Yeah.
Mr. Tat.
Right. He's got just sleeves. His arms are covered. This quarterback for the Niners went to Nevada. Just covered in tattoos. I don't see why. There's offensive linemen. You know why? It's because he's a quarterback. There's running backs, there's linemen with just tattoos all over the place. And actually, I will say, though, he has more than a lot of people.
And I saved this from this website that I came across that was funny. These are like goofy crimes that people did. An Idaho man was arrested for killing a zoo monkey. He broke into the Boise Zoo and killed a monkey. He died from blunt force trauma. A Connecticut man says Keith Hines stole a Chinese food delivery vehicle and then delivered the orders to pocket the money.
No way. That's pretty good.
That's funny.
That is good.
He stole it, delivered the food.
Kept on going. At least some people got their food. They're going to keep the business.
David Caruso, 51, of Vernon, Connecticut, is accused of driving through a DUI checkpoint with a beer in his hand.
He drove through it.
Yeah.
Did they bust him? Or did he get away with it?
They busted him. Raymond Ruth of Long Island is suspected of faking his own drowning at a New York beach in a scheme to collect on a life insurance policy. I'm shocked that doesn't happen more, and I'm sure it does. If a tornado or hurricane wipes you out and you're in bad financial straits, why wouldn't you try to do that?
Yeah, get everything you can.
And then I love this story. 38-year-old Sean Xingzhong, 50 people came to evict him from his apartment, and he fought back. And this kung fu expert, his hero is Bruce Lee, apparently beat the hell out of all 50 people.
No way.
There he is right there, man, Mr. Kung Fu dude. Actually, I think he beat the hell out of like 7 of them, and the rest of them ran away because they were scared. That's kind of a fantasy of mine. You walk into a bar, bunch of roughnecks.
It's a mob of thugs trying to evict him. What the hell is that?
I don't know, but wouldn't that be awesome though, to go in there and just like whoop the butt out of everybody?
Just some wimpy Chinese kid.
I mean, just whip the hell out of everybody.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Don't you think that'd be pretty cool?
That'd be cool.
I think it'd be pretty cool.
I wish I could break a board.
Now, we talked about families. I broke 5 inches.
No way.
The most I've ever broke was 6 inches. A white pine baby.
I'm gonna bring one in.
You know what? If you gave me a couple weeks, I know that I can keep my hand. I will do that on video. I will do that, and I will break a brick for you. I can break a brick.
Just me holding
6
the brick
o'clock.
like that.
No, because your hand's
hold
gonna move. We have to put a little 2 planks to it's 30 inches, and I'll break a brick live on video, and then I'll break the pine first, then the brick. I've done that before. These hands were once stone. Now we talked about love before, right? We talked about divorce. This story in the New York Times said that the thrill fades away almost as the joy of a new job, new home, or new coat, new love. Remember that, Denise?
No,
Jason.
I will. I'll keep that.
They say it usually lasts 2 years at the most. You know what? I am not kidding. This is going to sound... I'm going to make people throw up and vomit and puke. I don't care. I can honestly say I feel the same about my wife now that I did when I was like, that kind of... I'm serious. But apparently only lasts 2 years. Have you ever loved a woman like, or a girl, Garrett, for over 2 years?
No.
He's not old enough to attend my hand.
You did, didn't you? Didn't you
Yeah.
do it
I
with
mean,
the
yeah,
ex?
and I don't think it only lasts for 2 years now.
Well, I think it must, 2 years, baby, and it's over with. How terrible
Just
is
the
that?
excitement, or
Yeah, all the newness, all the freshmen, all the excitement is gone.
Well, then comfort and stability.
You know when you know true love? True love, I guess, is when it never
Hard in front of them.
fades. True love. But you know what, though? How crazy is it? I know my wife is my soulmate, my true love, all that good stuff. But man, it still ain't easy, is it?
No. Well, relationships aren't easy, period. So, no matter what, you're always going to, and you've got kids, you've got issues, you've got all these things that pull at you.
But I still get turned on.
Well, that's...
There are some people you don't get turned on anymore. Freaking old lady there,
Old bag sitting in
And come on, and same thing for women. Come on. A lot of guys, once they get married, big old pot belly, beer belly, fart, sneeze, puke, gross.
Is Jason fart in front of you yet? That's a
Oh
big
my
step
God.
in a relationship.
Oh my. Let's play a song.
Big step.
This is Hard Crazy on You on ClassX Radio. This is the Bulldog on ClassX Radio. Before I get rolling here, how about a traffic report?
Okay, we still have that accident that has bypass 28 at Pleasant Hill Road in Milford closed. So if you're traveling through there, you're going to have some problems. You're going to have to avoid that area this morning. Delta at Linwood, another accident. Martin Luther King at Burnett, downtown. Maple Leaf at Ridge. Esty at Center Hill. That one's still reported to be out there. A couple of broken down vehicles. We won't go through those. Traffic picking up again, pretty much all your slow and all your typical spots out there. So back to a normal morning, and it's Monday, so good morning.
Guten Morgen, as they say in Germany.
Good
Guten
morning.
Morgen. And how about this? We talked about divorce, we talked about love. How about this? In the Courier Journal, last Monday, I read it all, folks. There is a hormone that may help protect monogamy. A study found that married men under the influence of the brain chemical oxytocin put extra space between themselves and attractive women they just met. So go get some oxytocin, ladies, give it to your man, and never worry again. How do you like that? I think that's pretty interesting.
Girls, we're going to have to do some studies on this. I'm going to have more on this tomorrow.
All right, now I got to throw out some more news of the local kind. Bill Price, I like Bill Price.
Yeah.
He's heading up east to take care of his mother. He was hired at Channel 9 in 1986. Bill Price, a good guy, always treated me well.
I worked
And
with
good
him
for him.
5 years at least. We're on the morning show. So, yeah, he's a good guy.
Got a picture of him
And Bill Cunningham's show, my good buddy Willie,
Oh, bastard.
his show, it's just funny. His show doesn't do well here locally. Why? Because everybody knows Willie, and his show isn't what we know Willie to be. But get this, he is number 2 in New York, Chicago, Dallas, and Houston, with viewers 18 to 49.
Wow.
You go, Willie, baby.
Good for him. That's
Isn't that awesome?
Did
Number
you-
2.
Springer too. It's just.
Did you have the
And
article?
Springer and Dr. Phil meet each
That's
other.
true.
Did you have the article on Les Van? The GM of
No, I
Channel 12?
didn't
even?
save it, but I got that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the GM of Channel 12 is saying,
He's out of
see
there.
you later, alligator. But that's okay.
Yeah, no, the new
Those of you that don't like Duke, including yours truly, Duke Energy, Jim Rogers is out of there. The regulators in North Carolina said, get the heck out of there. And he's gone. Tomorrow night, Victoria's Secret's fashion show, like who cares? I don't know about you, but I'm being honest here. Victoria's Secret models do nothing for me. Nothing. They look like emaciated bimbos. You know, instead of like big buxom bimbos, they're like little skinny. And that might be unfair. They might be rocket scientists.
Yeah.
But I don't care.
That's really happening.
Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta, according to People Magazine, have their big Christmas album coming out. Who cares? And check out this picture of Halle Berry's ex came to the door at Thanksgiving, gave him a hard time. Well, her current man is a boxer.
Wow.
And that's what happened to him.
Oh, let me see that.
Whoa.
That's her ex and her.
Yeah, the ex
Did
lost
so?
that fight.
New dude took care of her.
The ex lost that fight. Here's the binder. I'll talk about what goes in that binder later.
No.
So how do you like all that stuff, man? The old...
Wow.
Yeah, this is pretty
What do you
interesting.
think Holly Berry's hot?
It used to be. I don't like her anymore.
I never got it. I never saw it. Lance
Well.
McAllister used to think she was smoking hot.
Lance McAllister's wife works for me. Did you know that?
Know that?
His real name,
So,
you know,
not here, right?
we revealed Daryl Parks' real name was Potofsky.
Yeah.
Lance McAllister's real name is Gose.
Ghost.
G-O-S-E.
Yeah, Lance Ghost.
His wife, Kelly Gose, works for me. They live in Independence.
Why don't you
And she's a
just spill the
part-time
beans
job.
there?
And she is a wonderful person.
Nice lady, yeah. I've
Nice
never met
lady.
her. Never got a chance to meet her.
She is sweet, cool, and attractive.
Let's
Lance did
do
very
other,
well.
Let's name other names. Over there.
All right, what's Eddie Finger's real name?
God, I don't. Do you know?
Yeah. I know Eddie's
I
real
don't
name.
know.
Eddie's real
I
name
don't remember.
is... Gosh, I know it, but I can't think. Tracy Jones is Tracy Jones.
Yeah, Tracy's.
Willie's Willie.
No, Willie's Willie.
Chuck Frederick is
Will
really...
Dennison.
Chuck Frederick's real name is Fernando Valenzuelas.
Fernando Valenzuelas?
A.K.A. Chuck Frederick. I'm just teasing
That's
Chuck.
a funny one.
Who else we
Chuck.
got?
Eddie
Chuck.
Finger's wife is, used to work with me.
Deb Haas.
That Deb Haas used to work, but she's married to Eddie Fingers.
No!
I mean, but what's
Thanks,
her name?
Denise.
No.
We got
Golly,
5 minutes
Denise.
cut off.
Boy,
What's
we're
her
really glad
name?
you shared that with us.
Ah. No, I was doing that because my brain wasn't thinking, so that's
You
fine.
can't
Make
think
fun of
Eddie's
me.
name?
Well, it's obviously your brain wasn't thinking.
Thank you.
I gotta say this too.
Jim
This is
Scott.
interesting.
What was Jim Scott's name?
I need to hire a private investigator.
Thought you had
Jim
that.
Scott, isn't Jim Scott really Jim Scott?
No, he's.
Hey, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. Ladies and gentlemen of the American jury, coming up, here's what we're going to do. I got a funny story about going to the movies and what this dude did relative to my wife. We're going to talk about the bridge some more. We're going to talk about Obama. We're going to talk about the quote-unquote fiscal cliff. We're going to talk about businesses. We're going to talk about hard work. And I've got some rants just waiting to be ranted out. Until then, just keep shooting for your dreams. What did Casey Kasem said? Keep reaching for the stars with your feet on the ground or something like that.
Is it Doug Johnson?
Dreams. Doug Johnson, that's Eddie Finger's real name.
There you go.
Hi, Doug.
Doug Johnson.
This is Fleetwood Mac on ClassX Radio. Eric Deters, the Bulldog on ClassX Radio. As soon as we get a traffic report, I am going to give you a political analysis which you can use. I will share it with you so you can share it with anybody you want to share it with.
Well, you know what? We do have another accident out there, and this is in Milford, bypass 28 at Pleasant Hill. This is the same accident, actually, and that is closed in that area. So bypass 28 is closed at Pleasant Hill. Also an accident with injuries on US 50. That is westbound between Beachmont and Tusculum, so right around that Dead Man's Curve area. The rest of the traffic very slow around the tri-state. Do have another accident. There you go. Yeah, well, it's out there. Just a lot of slow traffic in all your typical spots out there this morning.
You know what? TC was infatuated with Robin Meade.
Oh,
And I know you guys are
I was
too.
gonna say.
I want to tell you, have you seen her without her makeup? Because I can tell you right now, she's got that stuff caked on. I wonder what she looks like without it.
They'll do it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, here is our daily Saturday Night Live clip for you. I have his.
Oh, God.
Reach all the parts of my body. Pop my zits with a compass.
Stop.
Oh, no, it's perfect, because that way people can actually hear it out
I
there.
don't wipe properly.
Ladies and gentlemen of the American jury, usually late at night or when I am driving, inspiration and revelation comes to me, which I make a note and then share with you. And what I'm about ready to share with you, I know you're going to agree with me, and you need to place it in your memory bank to save. It dawned on me on the way in here this morning how absolutely hypocritical is it that those on the far left, and just a little left, have the gall to hate capitalism. And they're all pro-government. They want the government to pay for, especially the young folks, they want the government to pay for their college education and then forgive their loans. They want the government to pay for their contraceptives and their abortions. They want the government to pay for their prescription drugs. They want the government to pay. And at the same time, if you listen to these folks, they're anti-capitalism and pro-government. And it just struck me like a bolt of lightning. I thought to myself, what gall, what absolute gall they have to basically trash capitalism, trash business, trash entrepreneurs, trash Wall Street, trash taxpayers in general. Why? Because it's the freaking taxes on business which funds the government's paying for all that they want for freaking free. It's incredible. And I find it, gutless in a way for Mitt Romney to make a comment about he lost because of the gifts to the people and then run from it instead of embrace it. Take the microphone, Mitt, and say, yeah, I meant every word of that. Why? Because it was true. Get this. Students are borrowing, they've now borrowed $1 trillion. It's more than a credit card debt for college. The government lending money to kids to go to college. Not a government function at all. Guess what? Did you remember? Obama goes and campaigns. Where? College campuses. Why? Because the college campuses want him to come there. Why? Because the students are borrowing money from the government and want Barack Obama to get reelected. Why? So he'll keep sending the money and he'll forgive the loans. Meanwhile, guess what? College tuition has been going up, greater than the rate of inflation. Why? Because the money these colleges pay for all their tenured professors, so forth and so on. So the colleges, who need Barack Obama to be reelected, encourage him to come on their campus where they can draw a big crowd for the kids who can help reelect Barack Obama. Yet, these same kids can't get a freaking job after they graduate from the very college that they're enrolled in. It is freaking hilarious if it wasn't just so terrible. It's the same as the unions, see? The unions give the Democrats, who vote the unions, government money that we pay for, our taxpayers. So you and me, the working class stiff, the businessman, the business owner, so forth and so on. We are paying for all of these people. Meanwhile, they bitch about us. They bitch about capitalism. They want us to pay more. We want more. Why? So we can get more free stuff. It's incredible. The goal for them to attack the very system which gives them the money to live free. And you know what? I've decided this, folks. And I apologize for those of you that are unemployed and can't find a job. If this doesn't apply to you, I have become convinced now, based on what I have been paying attention to, there's all kind of freaking jobs out there. The problem is, most of the people who are unemployed are too freaking lazy to work the job. Why? They got unemployment. Why the hell do I want a job? Hey man, I'm getting disability. Why the hell do I want a job? Or they don't have the gumption to develop the skill to take that job. Look at the newspaper in the morning. Sunday, look at the Sunday Inquirer, the job section. There's lots of jobs to be had. Why in the hell aren't they being filled? Well, I'm getting free stuff from Barack Obama. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, when we come back, I am going to expand upon this relative to Barack Obama's economics and businesses. Until then, Boston. And you know what this is? I'm going to dedicate this song to myself. Because you know what? Barack Obama will never be a man Boston. ClassX.
ClassX, the new breed of rock.
This is the Bulldog on ClassX Radio. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, I got some more great rants for you, as well as a funny story to tell. But until then, let's get a traffic report from Denise.
Well, I'll try to make it as quick as possible. Still dealing with the road closure, and that is bypass 28 at Pleasant Hill Road. That is in Milford. Also an accident with injuries westbound on US 50. That's between Beachmont and Tusculum, and that's right around the Dead Man's Curve area there. Southbound 71, there's an accident on the ramp to Ridge. Westbound 275 at Kellogg. Westbound 275 at Blue Rock. So those are all the interstates. West North Bend at West Fork and US 50 at Kilby. So a couple of accidents out there this morning. Some of those on the interstates too.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, before the top of the hour, I shared with you my analysis of how the liberals in this country and those that receive all of this money from the government, all it is money that the government's taken from us, the taxpayers, and how it's hilarious that, for example, using the student loans as an example, that the colleges and the student loans and all of them, you know, they support Barack Obama because they're getting money. And they think there's going to be a big bailout of their student loans and they don't want to pay any more money. They got a lot of gall to attack capitalism. They attack Wall Street. They want to tax businesses, so forth and so on. It's really pretty... No, I don't want that song. I don't want that song. All right, but it dawned on me. I was standing there watching the parade go by Saturday night at the Independence Christmas Walk when another revelation came to me. I was like, oh my God, I cannot wait to share this one. So here you go. I want you to just think for a minute. Where do high schools, colleges, churches, Rotary clubs, Lions clubs, community organizations, individuals who put together fundraisers, so forth and so on, where do all of our communities in the United States of America go to sponsor community fireworks, community parades, school sports, programs, school events, school plays, Lions clubs, fairs, church festivals, sponsor a booth, so forth and so on. Do you know where they go to for all these sponsorships? I get requests every single day. One cause just as good as the next. Do you know where they go? To businesses. Businesses. And it struck me as I'm watching all these businesses who are sponsoring the Independence Christmas Walk. I thought to myself, now, can't these businesses donate more money to all of these causes all across America and every single community if the businesses were more prosperous? Of course they could. And how can a business be more prosperous and make more money? Less tax, less regulation. Well, the same liberal folks, a lot of them are liberal folks, who think that it's a hunky-dory world, and everybody should give to charity and da-da-da-da-da. Well, these organizations go to businesses. And just think of all the liberal jackwagons out there every day that are getting sponsors from businesses for their causes. Okay? At the same time, they want to tax and regulate them out of oblivion for their causes. It really is hilarious. And Mitt Romney was such a terrible speaker. By the way, I'm not dogging Mitt Romney in the sense that, hey, Mitt Romney, would have been a great president. He would have been a great president, a good guy. But he just doesn't have the guts and the cojones like me. You know what I would have done? I would have went to college campuses and I would have freaking hit it head on. What I just said before about the student loans and the colleges, I would say, I find it interesting that I'm here at the University of such and such, and the tuition has gone up here such and such, And all you guys are voting for Barack Obama, and yet at the same time, I noticed that you all can't get a job when you get out. Businesses. Do you remember that thing? I built that. I built that. Well, what's so funny is nobody in the national talk show circuit has mentioned this. It was clever. I built that. I did too build that. You know what it did, though? It made the Obama folks, the Obama supporters, and those leaning towards Obama say, see, they're just all for the big guys. They're for all those business owners. Business owners. It made Romney look like he was the business owner guy, not the worker guy. Nobody's pointed that out. So the next time, if you're a business and somebody asks you to sponsor something, you might want to ask them who they voted for in the last election. And if it's Barack Obama, say, kiss my fanny, no. And another thing that I thought of yesterday, let me see. Saturday, I go to the office. I have meetings. I go home and I work. Yesterday, I get up. I had a 9 o'clock meeting that I met with somebody who, by the way, what a case. In fact, the Cincinnati police are investigating this officer for excessive force. And I'm telling you right now, this off-duty cop at a bar, what he did to my client, wow. Anyway, I'm over here working at 9 o'clock. I meet with this client, Jack Stecklin, my buddy's with me. He likes to hang out with me on Sunday morning. We talk some business. So I started, I said, while I'm here, Jack, I want to grab some files, and I got some files, and I got some closed files, and I did this, and I did that, and then I went home, and I took a nap until 3 o'clock, and then I worked from 3 o'clock to 3:45, 12 hours on a Sunday. By the way, all that time, I enjoyed my family, because they were home too. I got to watch the football games. Multitasking at its finest. And it struck me when I was over here yesterday morning working is this. I'm the bad guy in the eyes of Obama and his team. I'm the guy they want to tax more than anybody else. Remember my lesson for you last week? Where I explained to you, sorry folks, the employer is more important than the employee. And the unions and everything, they forget that. They totally forget that. Why? Because the employer employs more than one person. In addition to that, guess what the employer does? The employer, takes risks. These other guys aren't one of... Let me give you an example. I am a lawyer now with 20 freaking law partners helping me on my cases. I got a staff nurse. I got 2 private investigators. I got a cop expert. I got an insurance expert. I got all these people. I got paralegals out of the freaking yin-yang, secretaries, all this stuff, okay? Guess what? How many lawyers are willing to take the risks to do that? Not freaking many! Lawyers like to be in a firm, and they all freaking do their little thing. There's a reason why there's not many lawyers. In fact, I'm the only lawyer in the tri-state, guys and gals, that has that big of a firm, all for my own cases. Okay? Now I gotta ask you this. Think about what I do. You hear about me working? I work 20-hour days. I live on freaking nuts. And guess what? While everybody else was enjoying their Thanksgiving weekend, I worked every day. Yesterday, I didn't see any other lawyers in my office. Now, some of them, they said they took work home, but I didn't see anybody here on Sunday morning. When you're the boss, you have the stress. You have the risk. I've shared this with you before. There's been times when I'm sitting around going, uh-oh, payroll, I need money. You take the risk. You take the stress. You work 20-hour days. And guess what? When payday's here, everybody just wants their paycheck, which is fine. I've never missed a payroll. But guess what? Obama wants to tax me more. He wants more of my money. He wants to cause me more stress. He wants to regulate me more. Does that make freaking sense? Hell no. Why can't other people... This is why I need my national television show, which is going to come soon, so I can have a national radio show and show the rest of the talk show hosts in this country how in the hell to explain it to the American jury. Eric Deters, the Bulldog on ClassX Radio. I hope there's no more accidents out there.
Well,
Blondie, what's going on?
You know what? There's just still a lot left over out there. We still have the problem where we had the accident earlier this morning in Milford, and that has bypass 28 closed at Pleasant Hill Road. It's still posted as closed. US 50 heading westbound. Now that is between Beechmont and Tusculum, right at Dead Man's Curve. There's an accident with injuries there, so that'll take a little while to clean up. Glendale Milford still dealing with that one at Reading. Also, let's see, Liberty at Reading and Maple Leaf at Ridge and Martin Luther King at Clifton.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, I want you to consider what the economy would be like in the United States of America and what the growth would be if we did not have workers' comp. Total waste of time. We did not have unemployment. Let me explain that. If we didn't have unemployment insurance, and the reason being is because if we did all these things, there would be absolutely no need for unemployment insurance because everybody would be freaking working. No unemployment, no workers' comp, no free drugs, no student loans. I mean, why is the government lending money to people to go to school? That is so freaking messed up. You know, you eliminate all these burdens on our economy. The economy, as I like to say, would roar. The economy grew like at 2.7% last month. Do you realize if it's going to grow 4%? The economy grew 4% in a decade. We'd have a $5 trillion above what our current level of spending is, and we could get our budget, our debt down to 11 trillion and just keep on rolling. But of course the government spends what it brings in. And it makes me so mad that these politicians in Washington use our money to buy things. But of course we can't get a bridge. And by the way, bridge talk is coming up very soon. Did you hear the latest? You know, Morsi, we've already covered this, the head of Egypt, the Muslim motherhood, suspended the judiciary and all these powers, you know, he basically is taken over. And the Obama administration is concerned about this. Well, what is Obama, when Timothy Geithner releases, we've already covered this in the first hour, Timothy Geithner releases the president's plan, which is twice as much tax increase than he had last year on the table. He wants Congress to give up their power to fight the debt ceiling and just let the President of the United States increase the debt ceiling however he wants, whenever he wants. My God! The arrogance of that. But you know why he's doing that? Because they figured it out this last election. Man, as long as I got unlimited ability to print money, borrow from China, I can keep buying these votes for the Democratic Party. See, what's going to happen is, if he ever runs out of money, those people are going to turn on him. Where's our goodies? Where's our goodies? And let me tell you something, folks. If you think this is any different than Rome, you got something else coming. The Roman Empire fell apart, according to Gibbons, for most part because of the disintegration of their society. The overexpansion of their borders, wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, and how much it cost them. People got lazy, so they had to give them what was called the dole, free bread, and circuses and gladiators. We got cable TV and the freaking internet. It's incredible. History repeating itself. Good old Barack Obama. All right, folks, I got to ask you, my two cohorts here, and I'll ask the ladies and gentlemen of the American jury this question. What do you do in these circumstances? My wife and I went to a movie this weekend at the Great Escape Theater in Wilder, Killing Me Softly, the Brad Pitt movie. That's kind of a gang movie, or a mobster movie. Well, we sit in the front row of the tiered seating, which is, you know, as you walk in, you can go left, lower seating, right, upper seating. We sit in the front row. No one is in there when we sit down. I mean no one. All right, we got settled in our seats. I leave, go to the restroom, come back, and I am not kidding you. This big fat guy The only other person in the movie theater sits in the seat on the other side of my wife, right next to my wife. No, he didn't, because he saw me go in there. He saw me get popcorn. And we look at each other, and I'm like,
are you freaking kidding me?
Are you kidding me? What are you doing? I mean, and I'll be very honest with you. I was going to have fun with it. I was going to say, dude, you couldn't find another seat in the place.
Right.
The only reason why I didn't, because I'm very sensitive to this. I mean, I got pretty good antenna. I thought that maybe there might be some mental disability.
Oh, yeah.
I perceived that there was something that wasn't quite, right.
So what'd you do? You
I didn't do
moved,
no,
right?
no, I didn't do nothing except, as it turned out, the seats that we were sitting in were kind of messed up and squeaky, so we did move down to the left. But instead of
that was your excuse to move.
instead of being in the front row, right center, I mean, this guy sat right next to him. I thought it was hilarious. I was like, dude, all these seats in here, and you had to sit right next to us?
That's freaking weird.
It was weird.
I hate when they do that at restaurants. When there's like other areas, and it's not anybody's. Well, it's the person seating you.
Right.
Well, yeah, but they do that because then they have waitresses
Yeah,
that, they try to keep them in certain sections.
Separate me from the conversation.
That's a little,
All right.
Wait, do you sit? You're in the front row of the second section. You're not like looking straight up at the screen, are you?
No. We're in the upper level.
I'd have moved though, even if my seats weren't squeaky. I would have moved.
I want to promote the radio station now, ClassX Radio. You can listen to us on 88.9 in Cincinnati and 89.1 in Northern Kentucky and Indiana. You can listen to us live on ClassXRadio.com. You can also call us if you want to, if we ever pay attention, 513-201-8891. You can also watch us streaming live on the BulldogNation.com. And you can text me at 859-250-2527 or email me at eric@ericdeters.com. And I'm telling you right now, this is beautiful. I got this guy last night about 9 o'clock at night. Owns a business. Thinks he might be charged with a murder. And he maintains he's innocent. He sends me a text and said, Bulldog, man, I know you're busy and your time is valuable. But, man, he goes, could you call me? I called him. I was sitting at my desk working, watching football. I called him. He says, man, you're incredible. You talk about that all the time. I can't believe I'm talking to you. He goes, well, what do you mean? I say that I do it, and I do it. And he goes, Chuck can tell you this, too. We blow people's minds by calling them back right away. Like, what the hell are we supposed to do?
Yeah.
So anyway, I spoke to this guy, put his mind at ease, gave him some good advice. But it was wild. So when I give you my number, folks, I want you to use it. 859-250-2527. You can also email me or text me great ideas for the show, comments about the show. I always protect your identity unless you say you don't care. eric@ericdeters.com. We come back, folks. I've got a little rant about our court system. And then I'm going to finish up with the bridge. So we got court system and the bridge. And what I just want to share with you is all of you who have had a bad experience with the process from law enforcement or the prosecutor or with an attorney or with the judge or with the system in general, I'm with you. I feel for you. If you think that I don't experience the same thing as a lawyer and as a citizen, I do. And I'm telling you, it is there are days and times. I mean, being a lawyer is my calling, so I have to stay in the game to do my thing and represent you and everybody else and fight hard. But I sometimes hate that I have the restriction as a licensed lawyer. There are days when I wish I was not a licensed lawyer. Why? If you're not a licensed lawyer, you're allowed to say stuff that you're not allowed to say when you're a lawyer. To be honest with you, it's a bunch of crock. So I'm going to just kind of give you an insight about, I'm going to have empathy for you. Empathy, I love that word. Ladies and gentlemen, American jury, this is Buffalo Springfield for what it's worth. We come back, more Radio Superbity on ClassX Radio. This is the Bulldog on ClassX Radio. We got Jim Scott's real name.
And it is.
Jim Bolson, what? How do you pronounce that?
I don't even.
Bolsnd?
I knew it was different, but I didn't know it was.
No
that,
wonder he
so.
changed it to Jim Scott. You can't pronounce it. We give away these little secrets to everybody.
Love Jim Scott.
By the way, I tell you right now, there's a couple. I got this client right now. I can't say names, of course, but I tell you right now, I got this client. Without violating attorney-client privilege, all I'm going to say is this, okay? Long criminal, antisocial record. Hired us to represent him in this case. Fired his prior lawyer. What they told me ended up not being what it was. And I can tell you that there is a video showing the entire disputed incident, which clearly shows my client guilty as hell. And they cannot accept that freaking reality and act as if we're supposed to just soldier on anyway. So
Your client can't accept
right. So there's a proposal that is like, to be candid with you, if I was the other side, I wouldn't offer it. And he just keeps delaying the acceptance of, I mean, I'm telling you right, well, anyway, so I basically gave him a hard time. And you know what? He sent me a text back. This is a social degenerate person. Why don't you stop acting like a kid and start acting like a lawyer? Oh, I call it lightning through my veins is what happens to me these times. I mean, my God, remember I just talked about I wish I wasn't a lawyer? My God, I wish I wasn't a lawyer.
Well,
God help this world if I'm not a lawyer.
What are you going to do in a case like that? Are you going to keep, can't you withdraw?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We've said if you don't do X, we're out of here.
Well, I mean, after you would say something like that.
I want to tell you right now. 99% of my clients are normal, rational, freaking people you can reason with. But there's always, I mean, it's impossible. Everybody out there in business, you know what I'm talking about. It's impossible to please everybody. But most of those people you can't please are freaking unreasonable jackwagons. And every once in a while, because I'll admit this, it's impossible not to, every once in a while, if I or a lawyer in my office do something, you know, that we got to straighten out, and I apologize and make it right. I mean, it's impossible to be completely perfect. It's rare, but it's, you know, nobody's perfect, so to speak. But I'm telling you right now, I can't believe it. How about a traffic report?
Okay. Well, let's see here. We still have the same problems as far as on US 50 between Beachmont and Tusculum, an accident there. That is in the cleanup stage, so it should be out of there fairly soon. They still have the area there of bypass 28 at Pleasant Hill Road. They're still saying that's closed in Milford, as well as, let's see, there was one at 275 at Kellogg, but things seem to be a little lighter out there today. I don't know what's, you know, it's December, but...
All right. I got an oracle that I want to give to Mr. and Mrs. Lukey. Mary Dugans was her maiden name, an elderly couple, obviously in their 70s probably, came up to my wife and I at Smoky Bones this weekend and introduced themselves. He knew Mary's dad. She went to school with my Uncle Jerry. And they said that they listened to me all the time over at the other place. They don't get up early enough to listen to the show, she said. But she said that she loved me, and she said, if I ever need a lawyer, I'm calling you. And I told her I'd give her oracle status. This is for the Lukies. And
hey, going back to that guy you've got in this case, he sounds like the kind of person that would, like, shoot up a mall or something. Is he that whacked out, or...?
Yes.
So you wouldn't be surprised if he's like...
I mean, well, here's what's amazing about this person. Is that he, based on his record, okay, and I met with their parents, you would not freaking believe the parents acting as if, you know, talk about enabling. I mean, I'm sitting there thinking, what? I mean, if I was...
How the hell do you think he got that?
I would be saying, oh my God.
His parents are...
Exactly.
I used to have a friend like that I just quit hanging out with.
I'm the kind of person that will be supportive of my children, because you got to be supportive of their children, but it doesn't mean that there are situations where part of the support is say, hey man, you screwed up.
Yeah.
We got to pay the price here and move on. I mean, you just got to do that.
What kind of stuff? Can you say what
No,
kind
no,
of
no.
stuff's on his record?
No, no,
All
no.
right, once you drop him, let's talk.
Well, I can't because he's
Still
still a
can't.
client. I still can't talk about it.
But
But but anyway, I want to elaborate. And again, after the next segment, I'm going to talk about the bridge. But I just want to say this: every single day, folks, every single day, and I get these emails from people, and I get these texts from people, and I wish I could help them because there's so many times, you know, they're getting the shaft, but there's nothing you can do. I mean, prosecutors have immunity, judges have immunity, you know, but I'm telling you right now, you cannot remember my quote that I talked about my dad, you can't teach good judgment? You know, there's no substitute for just having good, honorable, decent, well-tempered people in positions of power. Because if you do, it works. I mean, I always like using as an example the judges out in Boone County. I mean, the district judges, the circuit judges have the best judicial temperament. And when you win and you lose, you know, you can tell they're calling it the way they see it. You know, you're not getting homered. You know, it's just beautiful. I mean, it's the same thing with when you're dealing with a prosecutor that just calls it the way they see it. So many prosecutors, they want to make sure they get somebody, and these domestic relations matters and these criminal matters, you know, sometimes you get in a legal vortex that you just can't get out. It's like the person who does something little and they plead to something, they get on probation, and then there's some, you know, the probation and parole officer, which has immunity, you know, screws them around, tries to revoke. I mean, it's like you get caught in the system doesn't let you out of the system. And it can be scary. I mean, it really can be scary. So, the Bulldog just wants to let you know, man, I feel for you. And I'm going through it, and I go through, you know, my whole bar battle was like that. I mean, I was like, is this freaking real? I haven't done anything that should warrant this kind of a thing happening to me, and there I am, and I mean, I remember like responding to some of this stuff, and they'd be like, oh, that ain't no big deal. And it just kept going. I said, well, I'll get it dismissed at this date. Nope, just kept going. It's like, wow. And then what happens is you get labeled. I really feel sorry for people like that. You know, you get labeled, you know, a crook when you're really not a crook. You know, you get labeled a troublemaker when you're really not. And I tell you, in these domestic relations situations, it's really scary because you find yourself having to choose between, okay, you got to follow this order, but on the other hand, what the heck? I mean, this couple that sent me this picture of this little granddaughter, I'm like, wow. I can't imagine what it must be like. You know, you're dropping your child off to somebody that you know there's some issues that could hurt and endanger your child. And my God, it's scary. So anyway, I just want to give you some empathy out there, members of Bulldog Nation. I feel for you. All right, I got another thing about my wife. I noticed her boots were muddy. You know, those big, tall, you know, she had brown boots, you know, big, come up to the knees. Her boots were muddy. And I said, where were you that your boots were muddy? A little suspicious here. You know, where the hell have you been? That's what she would say.
The barn.
But I figured it out. See, we drew names like for Christmas, and she got my name. And you got to make something. You got to make something for the person, okay? And I asked for something, and she said no. But I figured it out. I think she's doing what I asked her to do.
What'd you ask her?
Which will remain secret for now. And you know, it's so funny, I acted like I bought her excuse. But just based on her reaction, I'm thinking, this is good. She's doing what I asked her to do.
What are you making for her?
Now, I got my daughter, Charlie Ann. I got to make something for my daughter.
Hey, so you got to give me her number.
Oh, yeah. I'll get it.
So I got
No,
my hair dead.
Seventh Heaven. I got to get the number. So
I can look it up.
Charlie Ann, Garrett's going to come get his hair cut by you.
He needs
If you
some
screw
style.
up this mane,
Oh, come on.
this flowing, lush
Now, there's
vegetation of hair, then I'll never go back to Seventh Heaven.
Yeah, you will. There's three reasons. There's 3 reasons why people hire me as a lawyer. A, I know what I'm doing. B, I communicate. And the other reason, I got big balls. ACDC on ClassX Radio. Metaphorically, of course. Give me my mic. Give me my mic. Metaphorically, of course.
Okay.
I'm going to give you lots of more information about this whole toll bridge concept and everything else. But folks, the thing that is driving this private government partnership is those that want to make money is the private part of it. I mean, the 3 of us could say, hey, we'll be the private part of this, and we could get bonds, and we could make a fortune on the toll payers. You know what? It is true. You know, you wonder like why something happens. You think money. It's usually money. It's money, greed, fear, love, lust, vanity, narcissism. All these things that drive human behavior. Ambition. All of them in moderation are okay. I have a little ambition. I only want to be worth $100 million, be president of the United States, and have a national radio and television show.
Yeah,
that's all my. Oh, a national law office too.
That's cake.
That's all my dreams are. Gary, what are your dreams? To have season tickets to the Reds and Bengals?
No, not the Bengals. Bearcats and Reds.
Bearcats and Reds.
But only in like a really.
You know what? Every year I say to myself, I'm going to get 4 season tickets to the Reds and Bengals again. The last time I had them, it got to be a pain in the butt. And you know what? I'll bet you will use them a lot. See, I could do that for you, Gary.
There you go.
I would go. Yeah, I would go to a lot of Reds games. Probably not
Bengals.
Bengals so much.
Well, I'm going to the Bengals game on Sunday, folks.
Right, the Cowboys.
Final traffic report real quick.
You know what? We did have a problem. There was southbound 71, just north of Red Bank. There was a jackknife tractor trailer, and that traffic was slow back to Pfeiffer. So that kind of just had popped up in here. So watch for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, we will get through Monday together. Remember, every dog has their day. I hope today and tomorrow is yours. I love everybody in Bulldog Nation, and I give you every day George Harrison for the fans. What is life? On ClassX Radio.